These are the faces of the betrayed. The lady in the hat is my grandmother, Stefania Stauffer, who wasn't able to do much in the times of the First World War, as there wasn't much else you could do, no matter how noble you were, if you were from Poland, which she was, despite the Austrian name. The gentleman is my grandfather, Colonel Casimir Hubert, who organised the revolt of the Polish officers in Kiev in 1917, was actually in charge of a group of men, some of whom were captured by Tatars and skinned alive. He was extraordinarily brave, and he died shortly before the Second World War. And the children, my father, Casimir, otherwise known as Tomek, and his sister, Bashka. Now, they were all betrayed by the Second World War. The story of how my father was sent to Siberia, escaped, walked to Iran, joined the Air Force, is related in my book Gulag to Spitfire. But the point is, he fought for nothing, because Poland was betrayed by Yalta. It had already been betrayed by the Molotov-Ribbentrop Agreement, which basically divided up Poland. Then, at the end of the war, in the Yalta Conference of February 1945, it was agreed that Stalin would have Poland, and he promptly depopulated my father's part of Poland, and his hometown of Lvov went over to become Lviv in Ukraine. Their memory is now being betrayed all over again because the lessons of history are not being learned. Trump and his like would happily hand over Ukraine to Russia as long as Trump got his Nobel Peace Prize. These people lived, fought, suffered and died for a free Poland and the right of countries in Eastern Europe to determine their own future, not to be invaded without cause by a Russian land grab. This is something that has happened in the past, and sadly the Russian bear hasn't changed his colours at all. He still is after a land grab. And Putin, to some extent, is a reinvention of Stalin, though without the communism. So look at these photos. Look and try and imagine what happened to them. There is actually a photo of my father with a Spitfire, and of course of the damage done when he fought bravely over Ghent on January 1st, 1945, shot down one Focke-Wulf, severely damaged another, but that isn't the point. He was risking flak, and almost half the people he was in the squadron with getting shot down, most of them dying. What did they die for? For a man who never, ever did any good by his country, was entirely self-centred. Not that I agreed particularly with the Vietnam War, but he dodged the draft on an excuse of bony spurs, which does not stand up to scrutiny, and yet he will give away people who have fought for their land, for their country, and he will want a deal whereby he exploits their mineral resources. This is greed, and he is matched by the land grab greed of Putin. So we're going to let at least 3 generations down and betray them. They died for absolutely nothing. Not one single lesson of history is being learned and applied. Thank God for French politicians, Finnish prime ministers and an English prime minister who are doing their best to turn the tide of opinion against the scandalous caving in to Russian demands by the leader of the so-called free world. Free? Ha! Joke over.